Hi, it's Ranger Commander again, and thanks for coming back. I wasn't sure if you would, but thanks anyway. Now, this is lesson 2 of 5 lessons. Lesson 2 is going to be on tinder, kindling, and fuel, and the TP fire. Now, something that you want to think about when you're talking about building a fire is you're wanting tinder, kindling, and fuel. Tinder is the light stuff that I showed you before. Hang on, let me get some real quick. All right, now I got my browse bag like I showed you before, and my browse bag is full of dry stuff that I have found along the trail, in the woods, along fields, whatever. I keep this so that I can keep it full, and it helps me to start a fire when I need to. Okay, I think this is a lot better than trying to make artificial ways to start your fire, like cotton balls and petroleum jelly. So yes, you can take cotton balls, soak it in petroleum jelly. Some people have even taken straws and shoved it down into the straw. And then there's also people like to talk about using dryer lint. Spray lighter fluid on it. Well, that lasts only so long. If you haven't built a proper fire, it's not gonna stay lit, and you take a chance on getting yourself burnt. So do not, absolutely do not put an accelerant, gasoline, lighter fluid, something like that, on your fire to get it started. If you have to cheat like that, don't even build a fire. That's what I'm doing this for, so I can teach you how to build a fire, okay, without having to take a chance on getting yourself hurt or burning up yourself or somebody else, okay? Natural tinder is the best. Think ahead. Think about your next fire or your first fire, whatever the case is, okay? Don't just assume that it's going to be, I'm going into the woods and there's fire, there's everything I need in the woods. All right, so I showed you tinder. What's kindling? All right, okay. Kindling. Kindling. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm from the country, and sometimes it comes out. Kindling. Okay, these little sticks, about the size of my finger, maybe a little smaller. All right, that's what you want. You want enough of these in order to build your fire, to get your fire going. And then you can put the fuel on top of that. Remember, tinder, kindling, and fuel. Those are the 3 things that you need in order to have a sustained fire. All right, so let's see if we can't find enough tinder to make the next thing that we need to discuss, which is the TP fire. Hang in there. Whoop, wait a minute. I got to interrupt myself for this. All right, there are some very important fire safety rules that I have been mentioning throughout the videos, and we need to kind of put them all together, okay? So, number 1, look up and see if you can see the sky. If there are overhead branches close to you, do not build a fire there. You need to be able to look up and see that it's clear. Anything that's above you may catch on fire, which could cause a forest fire. We don't want that. The other thing is, remember to clear 6 to 15 feet. Check with your local forestry service on what the regulations are in your area, okay? Also, when you clear that area, make sure you're putting it on solid ground or on stone. Make sure that there are no roots in the ground, because the fire can travel to that and spread under the ground. Believe it or not, it happens. Also, if you're going to build a fire on a grassy area, then the best thing to do is to cut out chunks and squares of sod, okay? Put them to the side. Build your fire in the hole. When you're finished with your fire and the fire is out, put the sod back on top, and no one will never know that you were there. Remember, we need to leave an area as good or better than we found it. So if there's anything laying around when you got there, pick it up, pack it out. Now, another thing it is handy and you have to be careful with but to surround your fire. Put some stones or a berm or a trench around the fire just to make sure that it doesn't spread. That's going to help. And again, like I've said before, and I'm going to reiterate, build your fire only as large as you need it. If it's for one person, build a small fire just for that meal. If it's going to be for more people, then you need to build it accordingly. And remember, do not, never leave a fire unattended. That's why I emphasize getting everything before you've started your fire, so you have your supply of wood for however long you're going to be there, or at least until you're ready to leave that site for the day and go off and do something. But never leave your fire unattended. And another thing, use what's dead. If it's dead, burn that. Don't cut something green down. You're wasting our natural resources. We are stewards of what we have, okay? God has blessed us with stewardship over His creation, and we need to exercise that stewardship in a rightful manner. Remember your firefighting equipment, okay? For putting out a fire. Your 2 buckets, one for dirt, one for water, and your shovel, okay? Now, they don't have to be huge. If you're just doing something for just yourself, just make sure you have enough in order to put out your fire if you're just going to cook a small meal, okay? You need to have your fire equipment, your fire safety equipment, according to the fire you intend on building. You might need larger than the black buckets I showed you, maybe 5-gallon buckets or something, okay? Think ahead. And by all means, if it's a windy day, don't build your fire, okay? Because the wind is going to blow the sparks and can blow it into an area where you have a fire that's going to start even away from where your fire is. So never build it on a windy day. All right, these are things that you need to know. Thanks for watching. All right, now we'll get back to what we were working on. Thanks. Okay, I'm back, and I have gathered some things, okay? So, you see the larger pile, that's my fuel. The smaller pile next to it is the kindling, and the tinder is still where it was. What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start to build my teepee, okay? Teepee goes, you can do it with just the teepee, or you can use the teepee over the A-frame. It's up to you. So we want to kind of sticking them in the ground a little bit so that it holds things in place. Okay. Now I can start laying some of the smaller stuff over and around it that we want to catch. Now, the other thing that you're going to want to do in the process of making this teepee, you're going to have some little pieces here, like I have, and it's not going to hurt anything to put some of this little stuff in, in on top. There's some more small stuff. We want stuff that can go in there and catch, okay? I could use a lighter, like I showed earlier on the last video, but where's the fun in that? Let me show you something. This is called a ferrocerium rod, or what a lot of people like to say, a ferro rod. You need a good knife that's able to strike those sparks. Now, of course, it's not as easy to strike those sparks underneath. Well, actually, what I can do is, see, and this is why it's handy to have a supply of your tinder. Okay, so see, with a ferro rod, what we can do.
Wait a minute. I got to stop you. I'm not going to light this fire yet. I know you thought I was going to, and I will show you how to use that ferrocerium rod. However, we need to go on to some other things, and we'll show that to you in video number 3. Thanks for watching, and again, let's get ready for some adventures in camping.